Good evening, everyone. I thank everybody so much for being able to be in attendance tonight. We are here because we are recognizing in the month of October a domestic violence awareness month. And part of what we do is we want to make sure that everybody is aware that we do have services here available for those who need it, and that you are also everybody has the support that they need when they are going through that unhealthy or toxic situation. Tonight, we have a special guest that is going to be able to be able to tell you a story and kind of give everybody an idea of some of the things that people may go through in a domestic violence situation. In front of you, you will notice that you have the power and control. When we look at this wheel, this was something that was put together in the 1980s as a move model, where people who were going through research were telling their stories and letting these researchers know about the experience that they had gone through with the people that cause harm. In this circle, you will notice that on the outside, you'll have physical and sexual violence. As you know, that is the stuff that we can see. In the middle, around that inner circle, we have 8 spokes. 8 spokes will show the different techniques that were in common, that are the less seen. Things like emotional abuse, using isolation, minimizing, denying, and blaming, and so forth. These are some of the things that people can't see, and some of the things that people can hide very well. As we have our survivors be able to speak with us tonight, reference this model, see what you can find on where some of those tactics may have been used. These are very important things that maintain that center circle, that power and control. As people maintain that power and control and make sure that they use these tactics, that is where they have that abusive and unhealthy relationship.
Before we introduce our speaker here, I just wanted to add that last April we had 2 visuals, and we had speakers, survivors that told their story about how they survived and all the abuse that they've gone through. Within that, sat in that audience, sat this young lady here, and I have to be thankful to the young man that brought her. And I know he hates for us to use his name, but I have to say, okay, he's right back there. Everybody turn around. But anyway,
Don't be shy.
But anyway, he brought her in to just listen and to see that there are other survivors out there. You know, and this means a lot, and the reason why I say it means a lot, see, it takes one to stick by a person that has gone through abuse, whether it's domestic violence or sexual abuse. It takes you to hold on to stand next to them and hold their hand, bring them out, and so that you can hear this. Well, through that, she got up and she came up to us and she said, I want to do this, I'm ready. Wow. Now, what she had been ready if she didn't give up. That's both that stood up. These were people that never spoke before, and she just came right up afterwards. And we welcome you. We welcome you. If you're ready, let's go. And she was ready. And I'm telling you, she has an amazing story. So please listen, as Corinne had said, you know, just look, listen to her and feel her pain. Hard it is to be. She's a survivor. Mary Ellis.
Hi, my name is Mary Ellis. My name is Mario Servo. I'm a survivor from domestic violence where I was in a 4.5 year relationship. Starting off with, basically, the title this year, I know, I went online and says everyone knows someone that is going through something or has been going through something in their life in general. 6 months, basically, starting off my testimony into the relationship that I had with my ex-abuser. That's the first time that he actually did domestic violence. He actually hit me for the first time. In the midst of everything, he actually got simple assault charges that he spent the weekend in jail that day. That whole entire weekend, came out Monday. After about a week and a half or so later, he contacted me saying he was sorry, begging for forgiveness. At that time, I was actually pregnant for my daughter. And, I felt sorry for him, I forgave him. We started going back together. It continued as a honeymoon stage. It kept getting better as I forgave him, but the aftermath, which was after the honeymoon stage, was actually continuously escalated and got worse as time passed by as well. Unfortunately, during the cycle of domestic violence that I was in and out, I became traumatized. Also, basically, that's a psychological response to abuse that occurs when you actually form a connection with that person, even though they're abusing you as well. There was about 7 TROs, which temporary restraining orders, 1 final restraining order. There was actually a few simple assault charges as well on that. He attempted to do a few things that he actually did was he attempted to do arson on my car. He actually painted my front door so I wouldn't look outside. Also, curtains were shut. I was going out the side door as well. Everything was basically like an RN. For about 2 years, I actually went through that. There is some pictures there, and you guys are the door painted. There's also other things there. Also he isolated, basically control every aspect. My phone, my personal life, also as well. The main one was actually one time on Valentine's Day. I don't know if you guys with the YouTube, you guys get Google like songs that when they come up from you or something. There was actually a song that came up, and the phone he had it actually. I never carried the phone at that time. He actually had the phone. The song was notified by Google. There was a new song. He actually said that it was a gentleman across the street from where I lived was that actually had sent me that song, which in fact, not even spoke Spanish at all. The gentleman, to be honest with you. At that time, he actually took the phone away from me. My daughter was in a high chair in the room as well with me. He started continue escalating. I wasn't able to actually, try to call 911. Making a long story short, I actually all of a sudden I see the cops running in my house and everything. I'm like, whoa, like what's going on? My house is towards the back. No neighbors next door. When coming out to be about 20 minutes later, in the midst of everything, actually, when it's manic mode, he actually hit my daughter's high chair. She tipped over, hit the closet. She had bruises, which was also there. Unfortunately, the police officer had to involve therapists for protocol. I was cleared out later on. He had to do a few passes. Going back 20 minutes later after the incident happened, police come in. I see my nieces come in, their dad, and I'm like, what are you guys doing here? At that time, I was blocked off. He was actually, I was like, how did, they call? His phone actually dialed to my niece's phone. My niece actually stood my sister. My sister called Middle Township cops. Luckily, at that time, which is not rarely, that you could have a Spanish-speaking cop inside the house, there was actually a Spanish-speaking cop as well there. He was on there and he heard the whole conversation. I say that was God's grace and hand over me because, how is his phone was in his back pocket? It was locked. How did his phone actually dial to my niece's, phone? So there I could see, the grace and favor of God over me once and over again. After that, he went incarcerated again. They actually locked him up that day. They still didn't finish that. I still went back with him. I had my daughter at that time. Went back with him a few more times and also had a younger son as well. And I already had my older son from a previous relationship. So at that point, at that actual incident afterwards, when I was trying to get the final restraining order, in the midst of everything, one time when I was cooking, when I was actually cutting potatoes with a steak knife, he actually came out the room towards me. I had my knife down, which the knife was also one of his pictures. He ran towards me, but I was so in shock. He actually ran into the steak knife, which was in the thigh, maybe about like an inch or half an inch. He went to the hospital, got like 2 or 3 stitches. And also in another miss, I headbutted his ribs. He got bruised so he could balance off. So I could run out the house with my daughter as well. But at that time, at that final restraining order, he actually turned everything around and stated that I stabbed him purposefully and everything. So actually, I got charges put on myself as well because there's a protocol and I got a restraining order temporary as well. At that time, I actually also grabbed, I hired a lawyer from there in Orange, and actually, that was a Wednesday. I hired the lawyer. He submitted all the paperwork. By Monday, everything was dismissed. I was clean out, everything. Apparently my discovery paper stated that I was actually taken to jail, which I was not even, they came to the house to drop off the restraining orders and everything, but I was actually not even locked up. So there I also saw again, once again, the favor, and the grace of God over my life once again. And that continued, the impression that continued to draw me towards him is that he continuously, the way he stated, crying, time over time, as he stated that he would, change, go through therapy sessions, everything which he did, just to be the good guy, for the first 6, 7, 8 weeks. Then unfortunately after that, I started everything, declining again, and he actually continued to go back again, which at that time went back again, everything escalated once again. Every time that I did see him, in a psychotic mode, my thoughts, I was always walking on eggshells. I mean, turn to the left, turn to the right. Was I gonna get hit? Was I not gonna get hit? Can I move here? Can I move there? Also, another thing was, sleeping was another issue as well. At 10 o'clock at night, he would come in the room, I would have to get up with my daughter and we would have to leave because apparently someone was trying to get in touch with me and I was actually even sleeping with my daughter in the room. So also, started thinking about an escape plan at that time. When I saw his facial reactions change and I saw him, his facial changed, his voice changed. So actually, I was able to see him coming sometimes when I was visually see him to make sure that I was able to, do what I had to do in my time. When I saw the escalating was also with the accusations were getting worse and worse each time that the honeymoon stage finished, each time that I continuously went back as well. The types of abuse that I actually went through, I did take one of the courses. It was actually like 99 about domestic violence. It was like 99.9% actually that I actually went through everything as they were talking. One of the abuses was physical. I was hit in the face, in the head, pushed, dragged, punched, bitten, anything you name it. Also emotional, verbal, psychological, isolated from family and friends, called different various names. Digital also, I put digital in there because some of the things that also he wanted to do since he had the phone, he would actually put on social media like we were a perfect family, a perfect relationship as well. So that was one of the things, a lot of people don't think about that, but also, that kind of deviates the abuse that's happening with the digital and the social media as well. Financial, economical, he wanted me to work, but at the same time, it was basically trying to get me to lose my job. So it was a, give or take, always show up my job, would be there. I actually worked at a county job. At the end, it was actually getting to the point, I lived here in Whitesboro, the police officers that came here were from Middle. And when they went to my work, I also worked in Middle. So it was kind of, at that point, I pretty much knew all the officers from both ends, from work and then from my personal life as well. The spiritual as well, I put in there. He was limiting me also to go to church. Do things, my son, my oldest son that's back to Orlando, when he had the chance to preach at church and do things at church as well, I would basically go see the function and I would be out of there. I wouldn't say the whole service, I wouldn't be there, because everywhere that we went, there was actually somebody that was trying to talk to me or I had some kind of contact with someone as well. Reproductive, all right, you want to talk about this coercion? Yeah, coercion. Afterwards, that I didn't actually realize a couple months ago, when he actually, I saw him and he actually said to me, oh, I wanted you to have kids for you not to come out the house. So I didn't realize that was actually an abuse, a domestic violence part of the abuse as well, one of the types. So I took the course that I had taken as well. I didn't leave. I thought I could help him change at one point, and also I thought that I could change him. And also because my field is mental and behavioral health, I thought if I didn't help this gentleman, I thought that I was actually failing society, failing myself, and failing the people that I worked with. So that was one of the things that actually had me pretty much stay there all the time. You know, thinking basically at the end of the day that I was actually able to help him change. But now I realize you can't have anyone change if they don't want to change. You give them to a certain extent. And then from there, they're the one that decides. Going back to him, to be honest with you, I just ask myself all the time, why did I go back to him? He would call, start, talking to me about the kids. Everything to me are my kids. To see them happy, I always wanted him to be, in their life as a father, which now I have accepted. He is who he is. At that time, my thing was, I was happy for him to be there, even if it was just a few minutes also. Also, the promises that he did that was going to change. Go to therapy sessions and take all the medications. A lot of people don't really talk about the effects that it makes on a family, but it does make a lot of effects. For me personally, it was low esteem, depression, trouble forming and maintaining relationships, whether it was boyfriend, girlfriend, or whether it was, friendship and stuff like that, vivid flashbacks, physical sensations, which is trembling, sweating sometimes. You would think, when I went to the store, I would think he was right behind me where he was nowhere to be found, or would he see me at the store, would I get hit? Just vivid things, even opening like my curtains in my house, like going out to my deck and going out to the porch as well. I'm always on a fight and flight mode. That was one of the things as well. Brain fog, slow processing, the multitasking was after the abuse. It's very hard for me as well. And handling pressure and everything that you can name on PTSD as well. My daughter, which is Iris, she's back there. Iris, say hi, mama.
Say hi.
Say hi. There she is. She's 7 now. At that time, she was probably about 3.5 when she was in there. She saw a lot of the things because of cognitive delay. She's actually going to be 8 in December. Now she's starting to take everything out that she actually witnessed when she was 3 years old. PTSD, anxiety. I have a loud voice. It goes up. Sometimes, I catch myself. Sometimes I don't. Or someone comes in the house, or we're around people that have loud voices. When you turn around, where's Iris? She runs off. She hides, starts crying. She isolates herself to a safe place or somewhere that she can't hear all that loud noise as well. She's always looking at my facial expressions. I'm very facial expression. Every time she sees me, upset or happy, she'll ask me, "Are you okay?" So she pretty much stayed with that, the little mini mom, type, "Are you okay?" as well. Also, now that she's expressing, I started seeing that she was hitting my little guy as well back there. He's with my oldest son on the right hand side. I also saw at one point she started hitting him in the head, pulling his hair, and those were the things that she actually saw as well. My 3-year-old son, actually, I was actually pregnant from him. Through this DV course that I took, it was really interesting. What I found out, when you're pregnant, that it actually affects more the child than when the child is actually seeing the physical abuse through their own eyes. There was a child psychologist, if I recall, that she is. She did, talked about the kids section and things like that. And I asked her. I stressed a lot. I had a lot of anxiety. I was actually even hit when I was pregnant from him as well. He grew to have night terrors. I asked the doctors, the therapists. He has ABA services in the house, but everyone comes to tell me he'll outgrow them. He'll outgrow them. But as a mother instinct, I knew that he was not right. Something was happening as well. And this child psychologist explained how the cortisol levels of a woman actually can affect the child and their brain development while you're pregnant. Even with those cortisol levels going up, the baby can actually be a stillborn baby, and it actually affects the brain. Which that really touched me, and I asked her a few questions. And coming out to be when he was turning 11 months old, I saw a lot of behaviors that weren't for 11-month-old baby. He was flipping chairs already at 11 months old. It was actually walking on counters, no sense of danger, oppositional behavior, multiple personalities as well. They did send him for an evaluation. When the doctor evaluated him, they did evaluate him with borderline or oppositional defiant disorder, autism as well, and ADHD. But ADHD, it's really hard now that I've realized it and I took this course. ADHD mimics a lot of the side effects behaviors that a child that has been through an abuse, journey or whatever you guys want to call it. It actually mimics their aftermath. So now that I'm realizing, I think in my case, actually both of them were classified as ADHD as well. I'm thinking, that it was through because of the behaviors that they saw and sensed as well with that. And unfortunately, the only difference that he has is that we have ABA services in the house. He's getting therapy. He's on a developmental. But a lot of his behaviors, 99.9%, actually mimic a lot of his dad as well. The only thing, like I said, difference that he is already receiving services and everything, at the house. 5 out of 7 days a week, both of them are. My 23-year-old, which is back there as well, he's not outspoken. He's very quiet. He did witness, though, a few things. There was a couple times that there was some incidents that he actually knocked on my, bedroom door, and he actually called the police as well. I know, he has a lot of respect for me as his mom, so I know that's why a lot of things he probably didn't come up to me and say, hey, this and this. But I know he actually suffered in silence as well. The time when I actually saw, resuming everything that I took it out, I actually took out 5 professional people. Took me almost a year, and I had to really open my eyes. Not just them. I know through the prayers of my mom and the church and everything, God was able to help me, get out. Finally, one day, I just woke up and it seemed like someone just knocked some sense into me out of nowhere, and said that, it's time for you to get out as well. Unfortunately, I got to the point that myself, and didn't even recognize myself. At the end of this abuse that I was in, I pretty much, the demon spirits that were actually influenced him basically came over me. We were both hitting each other at the end and everything, so I didn't recognize. I was out of character myself, unfortunately it affected me as well in that sense. And sharing my story, I have to be honest, before I actually went through the DV, I used to see other people go through also, different kinds of DVs as well. I used to always say to myself, never criticize them though. Why doesn't that person leave that relationship or get away from that friend or family member that is doing them wrong? Until one day, here I was in the same shoes as they were. I realized it myself, and the victims that I questioned myself in my head, why didn't they leave? Then I realized it was not easy to leave. I realized that it was not easy to see, from a third perspective. One day also, we get ashamed at that time, speaking up of what would people say, because I was a strong woman. What would they say, about, me letting myself get into that abusive relationship as well. Also, with me going through this firsthand, now I realize not just only there's people the way I used to think, but also there's people that might say bluntly, to the person that's being abused, you're stupid to stay there, why haven't you left, or he or she's going to kill you. There's a lot of people, out there that actually say that to other people, because I've heard it myself. And one of the things that I decided to share my story in public for the first time was actually tonight. I talked in private with other people after 3 years and 9 months. May 25th this year, 2023, I actually found him at Wawa, and I was actually able for the first time ever to stand in front of him and not feel no anger, not feel anything. I was able to forgive him that day by the grace of God. Also, I was able to ask him for forgiveness, and you guys might say, why did you ask him for forgiveness? Because at the end, those demonic spirits that would actually influence him, I permitted, because that we permit them to let it actually influence me, and I was actually almost turning into the person that he was actually, turned himself into as well. Another thing is, everyone knows someone. We're not alone. You guys are not alone. And most of all, through all this, I did see God's love and my family's love as well. Even though they didn't tell me, I knew they knew a lot of stuff that was going on. But I just thank God that He put me here, has permitted me to give my testimony, also for other people to hear as well. And the only thing I really, try to put out there, that don't ask anyone the why and one question. Just being here to hear, just be a shoulder for someone to cry, to as well. It took me 4 years to get out with everything that I went through, all the restraining orders, the final restraining orders temporarily. I went from victim's witness to everywhere, in the county as, for help as well. And I just give, thanks to my family, for not abandoning me. I have, my cousins, my daughter's godmom back there as well. She was always also one of the persons that was there by my side. I also thank, my best friend, he's back there as well. He has to have dealt, with my outburst. George Duntham, there he is as well. He's my best friend. He's one of the ones that have actually helped me out through my outbursts and everything. 'Cause I still, at times, when the PTSD comes back in, it's actually gotten better, but, it is gonna get better, but sometimes you have the episodes that bring back everything to memory. I know Mr. Scott, I heard you like putting your name out there, but I thank Mr. Scott as well that, he went to our church to give, with Kelly, training as well, and we talked there, and he actually was a bridge for me to come into CARA. Also Miss Christy, Miss Corinne, and Miss Tina as well. And I just want to leave you guys with this verse, Psalm 71:20-21. Though you have made me see troubles, many and bitter, you will restore my life again. From the depths of the earth, you will again bring me up. You will increase my honor and comfort me once. Doesn't matter how many times, God is always there to help us out, and our families, if we can reach out to them. Don't ever think that no one's going to listen to you. Thank you.
Now, wasn't that amazing? First time out, so please, before you do leave, we're not done yet, but please, the pictures are up there so that you can just see it as well. Again, can we give her another hand?
Thank you so much, Mary Ellen. It's an unbelievable amount of courage to be able to come up here and tell your story and bring awareness to domestic violence and be that support to other people who are going through that situation. As you can see behind me, there are a variety of different shirts that have different pictures and that have different sayings. For those who were there with us for the Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we saw something similar. What this is a clothesline project. The clothesline project was something that was deployed to help bring awareness. Not only is it for domestic violence facts, positive messages to give to survivors and victims that are still going through domestic violence situations, but it also helps spread a lot of that information and projecting that you are not alone. This is just a small portion of what we do have. We do have a larger setup that is in the Atlantic Cape Community College, Cape County campus, to also bring awareness to our community at the college level, because we know that that is also a population that starts off with having some domestic violence situations moving forward. Please, when you have an opportunity, come up. We have information for everybody. You may not need it, but you may know somebody that does. You'll have that information that you're able to give that information to. Check out our shirts. If you're ever interested in contributing to our clothesline project, please reach out to either me or Tina, and we will help with getting that information out to you and what you can do to be of assistance.
Now we move on to the candlelight part. This is it's a sad part, but it's a much needed part. What we do, if all of you could just pick up your candles and just turn the little, I told you see a light, and if you don't mind, could you stand, if you can stand. What this is all about is going through domestic violence today, as well. If you choose to speak out, say a name, please call out. If not, we will go into a silent prayer for you. Because unfortunately, there are many lives lost due to domestic violence. So if you would, this is the time, if you have a name that you want to call out, or call out, for the support, I call out for the secondary victims, which are our children. And I don't have a name. Anyone else want to call a name, say a name? And that's even the person still around that's still living through it, if you wish to do that. And if not, if you don't mind, please let's bow our heads.
This candle is for
Yes,
every man and every woman that suffer in silence.
thank you.
And this candle is for every man, woman, and child who suffers in silence.
Amen.
Corinne would like to share.
As we're having a moment of silence, I am going to read a poem that is, that was written in knowledge of domestic violence. It's called I Got Flowers. I got flowers today. It wasn't my birthday or any other special day. We had our first argument last night, and he said a lot of cool things that hurt me. I know he is sorry he didn't mean the things that he said, because he sent me flowers today. I got flowers today. It wasn't our anniversary or any other special day. Last night, he threw me into a wall, and he started to choke me. It seemed like a nightmare. I couldn't believe it was real. I woke up this morning sore and bruised all over. I knew he must be sorry, because he sent me flowers today. I got flowers today, and it wasn't Mother's Day or any other special day. Last night, he beat me up again, and it was so much worse than all the other times. If I leave him, what will I do? How will I take care of my kids? What about money? I'm afraid of him and scared to leave. But I know he must be sorry, because he sent me flowers today. And I got flowers today. Today is a very special day. It was the day of my funeral. Last night, he finally did it. He beat me to death. And he only gathered enough courage and strength to leave him. I would not have gotten flowers today.
I know that no one touched all of our hearts. So please, let's reach out for all that we know. If they're not going through, bring them in anyway, so that they can learn what to do when they see or hear this happen. So if is all, we bow our heads for a moment of silence, please. And we thank you so much for coming. We thank our Pastor for his lovely wife, First Lady Angela. We thank all of you. We have our little CARA people here, our CARA family, which is in the back. I have to bring it out here so everybody can see you all. Wave your hand. See, we all here. We have our family, my children, grandchildren here. So I gotta say that, you know. All right, we thank you, Corinne. And our new applicants, we have them here too. We are so proud and we love you all.
Thank you so much. Again, we definitely appreciate you coming out and spending that time with us. It just definitely shows such a great community gathering and the support that we have for not only each other, but for those who are still going through domestic violence situations. Thank you.
And last but not least, Pastor.
What a powerful testimony that we were able to bear witness to this evening. And the Bible says that we can overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And testimonies can inspire, testimonies can motivate, and testimonies can compel. And what we heard this evening surely has our ears burning and gives us the hope that we need. We were blessed to hear a woman who shared everything that she went through. But one of the things that really stuck with me is the fact that she was able to articulate every step of the process that she went through as she sought and obtained and received help, which bears witness to the truth that if people who are suffering are brought to a place where they can obtain services, the process works if you work the process. And and so that testimony is powerful. So as we go out, we can share the testimony that we heard and encourage people. And the last thing I want to say, because Baptist preachers have a habit of talking too much, is that far too long the church has been perceived as a safe space, but it has not been a safe space. It has been a space of silence. It has been a space of harm. And I thank God for my beautiful wife meeting Miss Martina and them coming together and bringing this wonderful program and this idea and this service to the church, because the church needs to repent from its silence. The church needs to repent from its inaction. So I thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for CARA as an organization for these wonderful testimonies so that we can repent and do the work of healing. So thank you so much.
Amen.
All right, again, thank you so much for our pastor and our first lady for allowing us to come here and be with you all tonight. Thank you so much, Mary Ellis, for bravely coming up here and sharing your story. Thank you to all of you who were able to come out tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Please, again, make sure that you have an opportunity to check out all of our stuff. We do have a lot of information to share, and hopefully a safe ride. Thank you.